You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
In the future, Planet of the Apes Monopoly won't be a board game. It will be a reality.
Welcome to Grawlix Nights. I'm Randy. I'm joined over the Voicetron by Jesse. Melanie will join us later, and today we have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Brandon.
My name is Brandon from the Technology Geek Podcast. I'm on the network, podcast network with Randall and the other guys. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's exactly it. I've been talking to you a lot on email, and so we thought we'd have you on the show. But yeah, the Technology Geek joined up with us on the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network, and I think it's been a really good addition to the network.
Yeah.
So I figured we could start off. We'll talk a little bit about you, get to know you, and talk about your show and all that. And then, of course, later, since this is Grawlix, we will talk about some comic books and Nightwing and stuff like that.
This is like a crossover episode. It's like Crisis on Infinite EMC.
Yeah. It is. You get to listen to Brandon over here, and then you can jump over and check out his show, which is good, by the way.
You can find all of our stuff on electronicmediacollective.com.
That's right. Get that off right off the bat. Get that out of the way.
Yes. Pluggage.
Pluggage. That's a much better term than I usually use.
I don't know. It actually sounds like a medical condition.
I think that it is that too. Wow, that went really gross. Brandon's like, what am I doing here again?
What have I gotten myself into?
Like I said, I'm used to everybody always wanting to come on my show, so I'm just enjoying not being the host, just hanging back here as the guest.
Yeah, that's nice. First off, I wanted to say about your show, The Technology Geek, Brandon, I wanted to say I admire anyone who can do a solo show, and you pull it off very well. It is very hard. Like, I've tried a solo show on my other podcast, but it's kind of music-based, so I can always break away and play some music. But, like, to be able to actually fill a full show, and you know what you're talking about, so I just wanted to say that I admire that quite a bit. That takes talent. That's hard to do.
Well, I think the big key to that is show prep. I actually find the first 15, 20 minutes where actually they kind of banter, you almost have to answer yourself. It actually is kind of weird. Once we get to the tech news and then I answer the live calls, that's not too bad because that's interaction. But like the first 10, 15 minutes, if you don't have a good topic, you're just going to die out there. Yeah,
it's tough. So tell us a little bit about Technology Geek, and also when did you start it? I know you're on episode 45. Four?
Yeah, actually 45. I was actually just gonna link to you guys' show.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
We'll
have listeners for one episode.
Yeah, that's about true.
Well, I figured I can get off easy this week rather than having to, do an hour of my own podcast and then come on you guys. I said, well, I'll just link to them and have an easy week. So that's what it's all about.
Hey, that's cool. It gives I like doing these nights, like having a monthly podcast. Like we were talking about, the editing is a real time killer. So doing a monthly podcast isn't too bad, but I still like doing these bonus episodes because I kind of like padding out the episode numbers, I like having that extra content.
Well, I got to tell you, I do it every week, and if you get a really slow news week, the show could go down from like an hour and a half down to sometimes even 45 minutes. I hate to say that, but if it's like this past week was CES 2015, I probably could have filled more than an hour and a half just with the CES news. But certain weeks when you have really slow, like that week between like those 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's, we almost always have to have guests because you just don't have enough tech news. I mean, that's when most people take their vacation time. So you just, you got to improvise. When you're doing a solo show, you got to improvise. But I mean, I've listened to enough of like Coast to Coast AM and radio shows, Alex Jones, and I've kind of learned their techniques, how they fill time, because those guys are all solo shows as well.
Mm-hmm. So when did you start doing the Technology Geek, and what kind of inspired you to start a podcast?
Well, I mean, I guess I probably started it probably 2 years ago. I didn't really start taking it. I don't want to say take it seriously, but I didn't really start doing it every single week. To maybe about maybe 6-7 months ago. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to do a tech show that was, I listen to a lot of the other shows, like tech shows, and a lot of them are more gadgets and are like they're not really meant for like I'm an IT person. That's what I do for a living. And the shows I was listening to just weren't meant for the real hardcore type of tech people. So I really wanted to get a show that really had really aimed more towards your higher level tech people rather than just maybe, somebody that does it for a hobby. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with those, that type of group, but that was more what I was trying to aim my podcast towards.
More professional or prosumer than just consumer.
Yeah, and two, I was really hoping too, if you ever listen to my really hardcore tech ones, we actually go over stuff like circuit board design and things like that. Just stuff I don't think you'd really hear on just a regular gadget podcast.
Mm-hmm. So I imagine you listen to, because I suspect that everybody who runs their own podcast listen to a lot of podcasts. What were some of the first podcasts you come across, and like which ones made you say, "Yeah, I could do this"?
Well, I mean, definitely Leo Laporte. I mean, his Twit network. I mean, that's just like I don't think there's a geek out there that doesn't listen, tech geek anyway, that doesn't listen to his set. The other one too at the time I was really listening to, but they're not on anymore, was there was a couple of guys off Reddit that had something called the NetSec that was really about network security. They don't really do it. I don't think they do it anymore. I haven't seen a new episode up in a long time. And then 2600, those guys do a really good monthly podcast, and they were actually really good as well. Lately, I've been listening to a lot more. And listen more to, I guess there's a lot of guys now that left Sirius XM and started their own podcast. I've listened to a lot of them lately, like Anthony Cumia and Adam Carolla, a lot of those guys lately, just some comedy stuff.
And you talked about them a little bit on your last episode.
Yes, you guys listen.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking to it's so good to know you're not talking to dead air,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I really respect a lot of those guys. I mean, we look at Carolla and Anthony Cumia. I mean, those guys are, you're looking at a podcast that has, 500,000 listeners. I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, we look at numbers wise, just the infrastructure you need in the back end to support that many people listening at any given time is just amazing.
Something weird.
That was a lot of static.
You still there?
I'm here.
Hello? I'm here. Hello?
Okay.
Yes.
We got hit with a wave, a static wave.
Somebody just set off an EMP. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah. The
I
digital
hate
surf
when that
came in.
Kwanzaa, dude.
That first Matrix was incredible. The second two were like, really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree.
Oh!
Well,
I haven't forgiven them.
Well, even the second one had its moments, but the third one was like you spent like 5 minutes in the Matrix the entire movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, I was kind of excited about the second one, and then it was like, okay, the next one's coming out really quickly, and that should have been awesome, but it wasn't.
Well, this is an interesting aside, but yeah, I totally agree, because the second one had a lot of Matrix stuff, and that was good, but it was also kind of just a lot of filler in a way. Like, they kind of did a little bit of world building, like there's computer programs that could be like vampires or werewolves and ghosts, whatever. But it was kind of a lot of filler. And then the third one, they just dropped everything that made the Matrix movies cool. We don't care about this cheesy war story in Scion. I was disappointed by the sequels, because I thought, like, the Matrix trilogy could have been, like, the original Star Wars trilogy level, like, this is the franchise for that generation, but it just kind of fell on its face.
Well, I mean, come on, now you look at that scene where he's fighting all the Smiths. It took like 27 days to film just that one scene. So that was like a really redeeming quality of the second one. But the third one, it was just like, when's it going to end? Mm-hmm. It just got crazier and crazier as it went on.
Yeah. Yep.
And like, even if you break the sequels down to their ideas, as cliche as kind of like, I think by that point the whole savior symbolism was, I think it's still like the ideas were there. They're not bad. They had the whole plot or the whole structure set up story-wise, and it wasn't bad. It's just, I don't know what happened. Because if you watch the first one, it seems like there's more care taken for every shot. Every angle is kind of amazing in that movie.
Oh, it stands alone. You could watch the first movie and not see the other two at all.
Mm-hmm.
How did they make Keanu Reeves look so tall in those movies? That's the amazing thing.
They probably gave him special shoes like Tom Cruise.
I imagine those trench coats help cover the platform shoes or whatever.
Yep. Photoshop.
Photoshop.
After Effects, I don't know.
Oh, man.
They stretched him on a rack. Medieval style. That's the original Photoshop.
Medieval rack?
Yeah, the rack. That's the original Photoshopping. That's actually stretching people.
Yeah, but again, oh man, this is totally different than anything you're going to hear on my show.
Oh yeah, It's
I was going to say, welcome to Grawlix.
Yeah.
It's all pizza.
It is.
If anybody wants to catch my show, it's thetechnologygeek.org. That's enough about me. We talk tech, ham radio, computers, programming, anything tech. You can go there and check it out. I'm going to keep going with this Matrix topic because this is a lot more fun.
Well, how about that architect, huh?
Okay. Let me ask you something. Do you think Will Smith is kicking himself in the butt? I mean, he was supposed to be the Neo character, and he dropped it to be in Wild Wild West. Now, how good did that movie do?
Yeah,
I mean, you have to wonder if, like, Will Smith just gets up in the morning and says, "Oh man, I should have taken that role."
Well, I think at this point he's got enough money. He's Will Smith. He's Will Smith. He's probably gotten past it, but man, yeah, I bet he was kicking himself about that for a long time.
It's like when you watch the third Men in Black, you could just tell right off the bat that Spielberg's not involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I have not seen it yet.
Don't waste your time. It's 2 hours of your life you'll never get back.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah, it's totally different from the first two. There's a little time travel element, which is, time travel, but that's it.
It just didn't really make a lot of sense.
Right.
It didn't. And then Tommy Lee Jones was in it, and that was like, I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I was like, the second one I think is better than the first, but the third one was like, really? Like Tommy Lee Jones is hardly in it? That's just not cool.
Not that the guy who played the younger him, what's his name? He's really good.
Brolin.
Yeah, Brolin's good, so that's not necessarily an indication. But like when they do a sequel where, example, Tommy Lee Jones is barely in it, that in and of itself is not a good indication. You know what I mean?
He's an actor. He's like wine. He's gotten better with age. The older he's got, the more of a badass he's became.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. Kind of like Samuel L. Jackson. Like his early stuff, he's awesome, but he's more awesome now. Like he can do Citibank commercials, and I'm like, okay, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. Some people go the other way. Like Steven Seagal has totally gone the other way.
Yeah.
Like as he's gotten older, his stuff's gotten worse. But
or John Claude, if we're talking that level.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay, Jean-Claude had two things that I felt slowly putting him on the right track again. He did Expendables 2, which I think actually couldn't hurt him.
Yeah.
And then And then he did that movie. Was it
JCVD?
JCVD?
Yep.
Have you seen that?
No, but I have always heard good things about it.
That is pretty good because it's super meta. It really drives home, the fact that he's like self-aware about how his career has gone, and I would recommend that movie because it's interesting. But like those two movies, I would take Jean-Claude out of the Segal camp, but just barely. I mean, yeah. You gotta be realistic about it, but...
Oh, you mean Segal's reality show that he had a few years ago?
Yeah, it was like, okay, he's not quite to that degree.
That didn't redeem him?
Okay, come on now. Let's just say what Jean-Claude Van Damme's been doing Universal Soldier like direct to DVD now for like 4 years. Okay, so come on now. At least Steven Seagal has something on mainstream television you could watch.
I guess that's.
You have me there.
That's true.
Wait, but he did the splits between some semi trucks.
So did what's his name? Texas Ranger.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, except
Chuck Norris. That's his name. Hello.
I think Jean-Claude actually did that. So I don't know. I mean, like Chuck Norris was like on fighter jets and had things like stacked on his head, and it was like 10 apples on top.
Let me tell you though, that Jean-Claude Van Damme scene though, where he hits the bricks and the bottom one's the only one that breaks. I mean, I think that's a classic scene from like the 80s, I think.
And that's where he peaked.
I was actually the last Jean-Claude movie I went to the theaters and seen, and I was reminded of this because last night I was flipping through Hulu movies and Netflix movies trying to find something, which of course I never ended up landing on anything to watch. And I come across The Quest. Did you ever see The Quest?
I love The Quest.
Oh, really? I did not love it. I went to the theater and saw it when it came out. And
I wouldn't have liked it there. Like, it was a good rental.
I think maybe I wasn't... If I remember right, it's kind of campy, and I don't think... Maybe I wasn't expecting it to be.
It's like a Mortal Kombat wannabe a little bit. Like,
yeah, and that's... Hey, at the age I was when that came out, that was like... I was prime audience. I don't know... I don't remember what it is about it I didn't like. Maybe I'll have to give it another shot. I
don't know if you should do that. but I like it because I've only seen it once or twice.
Now, Brandon, if you're going to link this episode on your show, I'm going to include a disclaimer. I mean, this is definitely not typical of your show, The Technology Geek. This is kind of typical of Grawlix, but so far it's way more random than we usually seem to be. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah, no, my wife just came in. She knows how I do my show because it's very prepared because I'm a one-man show, and she's like, did they email you a run sheet before the show started? I'm like, I don't think
a run sheet? No. We're barely prepared for our own show.
Well, yeah, but that's the beauty of having a co-host.
Uh-huh.
Like me, like I said, when you're by yourself, you got to make sure you're ready to rock and roll.
It's hard to start just improvising and ranting back and forth with yourself if you don't know what you're going to talk about.
I can talk to myself. I'd probably be committed, but hey, what are you going to do?
I haven't heard the recent EMG, but you're solo on that one, right?
Yeah.
Has it changed?
What I've done is I've put more music in, so I have to talk less, and then basically I'll kind of rant at super high speed for about 5 to 7 minutes. Cut it down, and then put a bunch of music in, and I'll do it like that in chunks. So the latest episode, it'll be like 5 minutes of me talking, 3 to 5 songs, and then I'll break back in and talk a little bit more. But yeah, it's taken me a while to figure out a good formula for doing EMG by myself.
I think you do pretty well, considering. I just wondered if, like, having multiple shows, if that has changed how EMG records.
It's definitely changed the frequency at which EMG records.
Wow, yeah, of course.
But that's not because of that's not the Grawlix podcast fault. Part of it was because I was doing that other podcast, EMG, with Steve and Lou, like 2 years ago, and since they left, they lost interest in podcasting. Since they left, I really didn't know what to do, so I've just kind of every month or once every 2 months put out an episode. That's usually either I'll get somebody from the group to kind of come on and be a guest, and those shows go pretty well, or I'll just try to fill the solo shows with music. And that's why I say I admire Brandon for his being able to, I guess, get prepared and then fill like your episodes are usually pretty good length. Fill that time.
Yeah, they're about an hour, maybe usually a little more than that. Mm-hmm. It's all about being prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, if you ever need a co-host, just let me know. I can help you out with that if I'm free.
Oh, nice.
I like to podcast, man. I just over the Christmas holiday, I took all my money and invested myself into a little, pretty decent $200 microphone, like a pro audio mic. It's actually
nice.
pretty cool.
I wanted to ask you, although I don't know how interesting this is to our audience, but I'm a podcast guy, so I'm into podcast stuff.
We're talking shop on this episode of Grawlix Nights.
Yeah, we're gonna talk shop a little bit. What? Okay, so you got a new mic. What mic did you get?
I have the Audiotronics, the pro audio one. You've probably seen it if you watch David Letterman. It's the one he always has on his desk.
Oh.
I have that, and then I actually have a Mackie mixer. Probably, I'm trying to think. I mean, this is like probably 3-4 years old. And then I have that, and that goes into my little. I have a Mac because I like GarageBand, and I have my little Mac interface. So I got a good little setup here. I really like podcasting, so that's why you just got to have good audio when you're doing something like this. Mm-hmm. You guys, I kind of like how sometimes you don't have. Sometimes I think the video element is great, but sometimes I think it's kind of a pain too, because then I have to get my Sony camera out and point it and get a good angle, and got to make sure it's sometimes it can be a pain, but the audio sometimes just having the audio is nice. I'm a big stickler about audio quality.
Yeah. I've been slowly building up more gear for podcasting. When I first started, it was whatever mic I had around, and then I'd run that into the computer, and I couldn't find any reliable. I mean, I think it's more the computer than the software, but I had a lot of problems with crashing, and every time I'd go to record a new episode, it seemed like I'd have to set it up different just because something wouldn't work the way it did before. So I picked up a fairly inexpensive analog mixer, and now I've got everything. When Melanie's here, I've got the 2 microphones run into that so you guys can hear us, and then I have you guys run into that as well. I don't need to get into the whole how it's routed, but basically it's a mix minus setup, I believe they call it online, so that I can record you guys off of Hangouts but also shoot our audio back so you're not getting like echo of yourself.
A lot of people don't realize, though, that the actual Google Hangouts was actually developed by the person that worked over at Leo Laporte's shop, Twit, because they had something called Skypezilla, where you'd have 4 or 5 Skypes going, and then you'd mix them together with a mixer. Mm-hmm. And the girl actually did such a great job with it. Google actually hired her to actually come out with Google Hangouts. It was a
nice.
kind of neat little history lesson there. I don't know if you're ever on Jeopardy, you'll need it, but.
No, that's super interesting. I didn't know, because since I've discovered Hangouts, that's what I prefer. I find it you don't get that Skype stutter robot sounding glitch. For the most part, Hangouts has been really reliable. And then, of course, if you mentioned the video thing, if one wanted to do the video thing or even just throw out a live broadcast, it's super easy to do on Hangouts. So yeah, I'm kind of a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know if you guys did any podcasting before Hangouts. I was on podcasting in 2008, 2009, before Hangouts was even out. And the audio quality, if you were Skyped in, used to just be terrible. And then if you had a Mac, you'd have to run this thing called Leaftree, which would kind of allow you to run multiple audio controllers like virtually. It's kind of, I don't want to get too techy on the show, but I've talked about it on some of my older podcasts. It was just remote. Anything remotely, if somebody came in remotely, it was just really tough. Now with Hangouts, you don't have that problem anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never had a lot of good luck with running things through Skype, but also for a long time I'd record on the computer with software, and that just became so unreliable. And again, it's probably more my system than the software that I went totally external. The only thing I use the computer for in this setup is to have you to like pull the audio from you guys, but I record onto a portable digital recorder now, and then I have the mixer. So yeah, I don't record into software anymore for pods. I've lost too many episodes.
Yeah, well, most of my stuff, like my Mackie and even my interface for my Mac. So I had a band. The band has since dissolved. Mm-hmm. So, I have the mixer, and I had that. And I was using what they call a live mic, which was okay, but it wasn't the great mic. And then over the Christmas holiday, I got some money. So I said, let me just buy a pro mic, and now I have everything I need. I shouldn't need to buy any equipment for a while now, knock on wood.
Is there like a good affordable option for folks that are interested in podcasting?
Well, they sell them on Amazon or eBay or that. They sell the podcaster starter kit. It comes with the Podcast for Dummies book, a mixer, and a microphone for like $150.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It's Behringer stuff. It's not very high end, but to get you started.
My wife she just bought a Blue Yeti microphone, and I don't even know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a decent? Is that a decent purchase?
Yeah, that's.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, really?
No, I've never. Maybe you did, Randall. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Blue Yeti. I believe it's the same company that makes those like snowball mics. They're usually USB mics, but those are pretty popular around a lot of podcasts, like the not the pro level podcasts. It's so weird that there's pro level podcast circles, but they're very popular in podcast circles because I guess you can get pretty good sound out of it. I've never used them, but they're supposed to be super easy to use. But yeah, those are supposed to be decent.
Yeah, but you got to be careful though with some, because they sell like the microphone I have, Audiotronics. This is kind of high end. If somebody's just playing around in the garage, I don't
Mm-hmm.
But it's just me because again it's just a person I love podcasting. They'll sell you a USB version of this, but the problem is it limits you to just using USB into the computer. Mm-hmm. What you can do is you get this microphone, and then you can buy either a microphone cable and use it in a mixer, or if you wanted to go one, you just get the microphone cable with the USB on one end and then the microphone cable on the other. See, when you buy it USB, it's got the USB already wired in. You can't change it. You're better off buying the microphone and then just buying the different wires online.
Well, and if you want to spend a little extra money, I'm not sure about the Blue Yeti or the Snowball microphones, but you can also get microphones equipped for both, where they've got the circuitry in there for a USB connection, but it's also a traditional style microphone where you can use like an XLR cable or something like that. The USB mics, I think for somebody like Jesse, who, as far as I know, doesn't plan on recording his own sessions, when he just calls in for us, that might be pretty good for him. I'm kind of a stickler. I stay away from the USB ones just because, like I said, as much as I can, I've gone to going external from the computer, so I kind of stay away from those. But if you're just like, if you don't want to invest in a ton of hardware, that's not necessarily a bad way to go.
Well, no, but a lot of people don't realize is though if you do get just the USB mic, you can't ever use it in a mixing board because it doesn't come with the wire for it.
If it's just USB, you're bound to you could just run it into a USB and that's all you can do with it.
Yeah, well, like I said, if they buy the actual microphone and then they could just buy the two different cables and then they're not limited. Mm-hmm. It's not something they have to do. It's just a suggestion.
Oh yeah, well no, yeah, I agree with you there because it's better to be versatile. Part of the reason I've never won with a USB one is because I don't want to be tied to just not like you said, you can't run it into a mixer or anything like that. So
we do a whole podcast just on audio equipment, and you can find the podcast on the technologygeek.org, by the way, if you're interested.
Yeah, I like it.
We do have a whole, if you go, I think it's in the 30s. If you go down, we actually do a whole thing on it if you're interested, Jesse. Talk about all the different hardware and stuff. Maybe you might want to listen to it, give you a little bit of a little more background before you purchase.
Sure, absolutely. I had a thought, and I think it just evaporated. No. You offer services as well.
Well, yeah, we do. I do some web design and some SEO services as well for anybody that's interested. That's not something we do a ton of, but we do have quite a bit of customers that we do their websites and stuff like that. All the money we make on our site just goes to keeping the server up and running because we do have a dedicated server because we do get quite a bit of bandwidth. So that's the reason why. But yeah, if anybody's interested in our services, we can help with web design, any of that stuff. You guys actually, I don't know who does your website. I think it's Randy. Do you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I like it.
Thanks. I cheat. That's from a template, and then I tweak as I need. But thanks. I'm glad it looks.
Web designers. It looks nice. You know how many web designers just use WordPress and stuff nowadays? Most of them don't even know HTML anymore.
Yes, true story. I use WordPress, but I do know HTML, so I can use it better than some people do.
But that's like, but you're a guy making your own site. You're not necessarily doing it as a web designer, and so yeah, it is kind of sad that a lot of web designers will just, because I'm not going to start like trying to charge anybody to set these things up unless I really know what I'm doing, Well,
I mean, that's my whole business. I do, computer consulting, web design, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just a way of me gaining some extra cash to keep the site up and running.
You recently revamped the technologygeek.org, and I think it looks really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I it was one of those things. The site was dated, and I decided to just give it a better look and feel.
It looks nice. I like it.
Truth. Hashtag truth.
Yeah. How are you? What are you guys using to host to post? Do you guys use like a plugin or something to post your shows, or what? I'm not sure how you guys are doing. How you guys handle the feed?
I keep it all free. It's all free. I use Blogger for the websites, the Google, blogger.com or whatever. I use that for the websites. That's actually got some really nice like built-in stuff for handling, creating a feed and posting the audio episodes into the feed like that. When you create a post, you can put a link to the MP3 file, and it'll just set that up. And then I take the podcast feed out of there, feed that into FeedBurner so it formats it nicely for iTunes. And then that feed I can use in iTunes and Stitcher and whatever else. If you subscribe to our RSS feed at grawlixpodcast.com, it's coming out of the FeedBurner feed. So, and then our hosting, we host the audio files on archive.org, so that's also free. So, yeah, it's our internet stuff is all built around totally free services, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, we actually use, like I said, we have our own a dedicated server. Just because the amount of bandwidth we pulled, we were getting actually complaints from Blogger and stuff like that because the amount of hits we were getting. Think about that. Blogger's owned by Google, and they're complaining about traffic.
Yeah. Well, I've had little problems with Blogger before, so I could see it being an issue if our show pulled in more traffic. Maybe, fingers crossed someday it does. So that's not necessarily a bad issue to have. But for now, it's been working okay. In the future, I might have to go to
hashtag in the future.
In the future,
I predict that this show will have 1,000 listens by the end of the next month. That's my prediction.
Oh, nice! I like that prediction. Hey, okay, this is more shop talk, and I'm sure it's not interesting to anybody. How do you go about?
Yeah, we probably should get.
We'll get to Nightwing, but I want to ask you a question. We can't have Brandon from the Technology Geek on here without asking him some technology questions. how do you go about...
As your audience slowly diminishes.
Oh. Well, maybe Jesse will stop listening, and then we'll have no audience.
Let's just throw some hashtags in here. Hashtag Doctor Who. Hashtag Marvel Comics. Hashtag Phase 3.
Boom.
Okay, we've got listeners again.
Hey guys, I got to tell you though, I'm glad you guys let me join your podcast network though. It really helped. It has helped our show with getting listeners, and I think it's helped you guys as well. So we're really glad to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, we're glad to have you. I'm glad it's helped your show. It's definitely brought more traffic our way too. So it's been a mutually beneficial thing, and it's also cool to. If anything, I really enjoy kind of networking and like. It brings us to situations like this where we've got you on the show and we can talk to you about stuff. I like meeting people that are out there doing it as well. So I like the networking aspects that come with kind of setting up the podcast network and stuff and getting to know more people.
Jesse, another hashtag, awesomeness.
Yep.
Awesomeness. Awesome sauce. Okay. I suppose we should get to something comic related.
Yeah, I talk about tech every week on my show. Let's talk about something different.
All right. You are a big Nightwing fan, from what I understand.
That's
right. How long have you been reading comics about?
Oh my gosh. Since the X-Men revamp, she's back in the early 90s, I guess, with the addition of
Chris Claremont, issue 1 there.
Yeah, but actually, because of you guys, you actually gave a breath of fresh air here. I actually pulled out my entire comic collection. I actually have some of the original reboots of I have Wolverine, actually the 3rd or 4th comic book here. I have all the right after the Marvel reboot when they rebooted the X-Men and Wolverine. I have some of the Gambit comics, but you can't even find those anymore.
Oh right.
All that stuff. Yeah, you guys have definitely made me pull my comic book collection out. I'm happy.
Oh, nice, good. I like spreading the comic gospel.
I mean,
what would be the comic gospel? Let's just tackle that right now.
I don't know if we could.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. You can say it depends on the person. Like, I mean, to me, you got I always like Nightwing only because he's pretty much going to take up, Batman's mantle, and he does. And I think it's nice that they even touched on that. Mm-hmm. If you remember.
Yes. Actually, those are some of my favorite Nightwing moments. Is where he actually takes it on.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously and then too, I just thought his character was always cool. He wasn't rich like Bruce, but yet he was able to fight crime, and like unlike a lot of most comic book characters, he actually went into the neighborhood and actually got a crummy apartment, like especially when you read like Blue Haven and all, or Bloodhaven and stuff like that. It's just he got into the meat of it. He wasn't rich like Bruce or Oliver Queen was.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. And he had a good rapport with like Tim Drake. I always enjoyed those issues where he would kind of mentor Tim.
Well, I agree with you on that, and I'm actually just reading one last night. I think some of my favorite moments, though, are when Batman and Nightwing get back together. I remember when they went after Jason Todd at one point, before the Red Hood went to being a good guy, or was it the Red Hood?
What's up with that? He was a better villain by far.
Yeah, but you know what though? I don't know. I don't know how. Jason Todd, I thought was a great Batman, or a great Robin for Batman, because he was a lot more comical. He kind of made the comics a little lighter. Like in my opinion, when Nightwing went to being Batman, Dick Grayson went to being Batman, and then you had Ra's al Ghul's grandson as Robin.
Yeah,
I felt like you actually like Batman was too comical because and Robin was too serious. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No,
it's kind of like reverse roles.
That's one of the aspects I kind of like of that period because, I like myself a serious Batman, but that's one of the aspects I liked of when Dick Grayson was Batman and we had Damian as Robin, of course, is that it was a total role reversal because you've got a more lighthearted and upbeat and friendly Batman, and you've got this like moody, mean little kid as Robin. It was kind of an interesting role reversal. Of course, everybody knew it wasn't going to stick forever, but
that was that first couple pages of that comic book were crazy when he's walking down to the cave. He's like, I have to do something that I thought I would never have to do, and he ends up being Batman. And if you remember, Bruce didn't want him to be Batman. Bruce wanted Nightwing to just hold down the fort in Gotham, and he decided not to do it. He decided to take up Batman's mantle. So,
how far have you been reading have you read the New 52 Nightwing stuff?
I hate to say this, but I don't really. Problem is, I get comics so sporadically. I probably have at one point.
They've done some really wild stuff with Dick Grayson. He's not even Nightwing now.
I forget. Well, what's he doing now? I forgot.
Currently, I think the
series. He's called Grayson now. Yeah. It's not even called Nightwing anymore.
He's just kind of a spy. I don't remember the organization he's working for, but he's just kind of off doing his own thing. It's like a spy book, I guess, which could be interesting, but such a strange turn to take.
But you know what, though? He's one of the very few comic characters out there that's had a very long run, if you think about it, without having a reboot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And he's Nightwing for a decade almost.
That's an interesting way to look at it because he was Robin for a very long time, and then Nightwing's kind of gone through some changes. He was Batman for a time, and now he's Dick Grayson, a spy. It's kind of interesting. Go ahead.
He's actually been Batman twice.
Oh, has he?
Right after the breaking of the Bat, he took on the mantle for a little while, and it was the Prodigal storyline, and then he took it again after Final Cut.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he's the only one that has a strong enough relationship because, I mean, Tim Drake can't carry it by himself. I mean, he's not the Batman type. He's not. I don't think he's skilled enough. I don't think the fans relate with him as much as they do Dick.
And he wasn't ever as likable either.
I agree with that as well.
The character itself, from what I've read of it when he was Robin, he was not a very good Robin, and that was kind of the problem Batman was having before the Joker got a hold of him.
Well, then too, you have to remember you have Jason Todd, which I think if they would have kept Jason, really would have been probably the next Batman. If they didn't spin him off into his own character.
Did I mix those two up? Were we talking about Tim Drake just a moment ago?
I think so. I was like,
Oh, my bad. I meant Jason Todd. Yeah, Tim Drake's interesting. I liked his super detective angle they took with him. I'm sorry. I mixed those up.
That's okay. We forgive you.
Oh, thank you.
Your geek license will be reinstated at the end of the podcast.
Okay, good.
I wanted to get you guys' take on... And I'm not. We actually talked about this yesterday, and I said I'm going to bring this up. A couple of my friends and I want to know what you guys' take are on them adding Ra's al Ghul to Arrow. I don't know if you guys watched the show or not, but I wanted to ask.
I just got caught up.
The actor guy that plays him is okay, but I don't think he necessarily fits as a Ra's al Ghul. That's I guess an on the surface complaint.
There's a mystique about him that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like he throws out how old he is, and it's clear that matches with how old he is on the show or as he appears.
Get some crazy echo.
Yeah.
Is it from me or from?
Maybe. I'm not sure. So I'm not getting echo on your voice.
I'm getting echo on everybody.
Oh, really? I'm getting
echo on me.
I'm not getting echo on anybody.
Really? Okay, so I'm getting a little echo on me, but a ton on Jesse.
Yes. And it's actually throwing me off when I start talking.
Okay, I thought it might be. It seemed like you were having some trouble. What are you guys listening to the audio on? You guys all on headphones?
I am.
I probably should be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me get my headphones. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, I was worried it was me for a while, but
I even threw it up in the Hangouts. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no, I'm away from the computer. I'm in the other room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
someday I'll probably cut this so she doesn't listen to the podcast. Eventually, I think I'm going to buy Melanie a laptop for her, but we might have to use it for recording.
But it'll be available, yeah.
For me too.
Yeah, it's nice to have, like when you need to Google something in the middle of the show.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey.
Hello, is there any echo now?
Nope, sounds good.
I haven't heard it, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that was sorry about that, guys. I didn't even think about the headphones. I guess it went through my head. I didn't even think about it.
Oh, it's okay.
No problem.
Yeah, I got my Soul Republic headphones. These things are awesome. If you guys ever want to drop some cash, they're better than Beats and they're cheaper too.
Soul Republic?
Yep.
I'm writing it down.
Now
And if you want to go ahead and we do a whole review on Soul Republic headphones on the technologygeek.org.
Yes. No, you're good. You're a pro about that. You even tied it in. It's totally relevant. Now, I could be wrong, but my impression is the Beats, like Beats by Dre headphones and stuff, I'm sure they're decent, but are you mostly paying for the title when you buy those?
They're very bass heavy. Like these give you, Soul Republic designed their headphones basically for more realistic sound, where Beats is more bass heavy for more that bass heavy, that rap music, whatever the kids are listening to these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, yeah, and you don't necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess kids do, but you don't necessarily want something like that. That's not at all an accurate. Melanie walked in, so I'm distracted. But that's not necessarily an accurate representation of your audio source.
No, well, the thing is, too, with Soul Republic headphones is the guy that actually designed Soul Republic is also the guy that worked on the Beats headphones as well. A lot of people don't realize that. It's the same engineer.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I did not know that.
Yep. We talk about it on the show if you're interested.
And it's not connected to Bieber in any way.
No, I don't believe so.
Good.
Melanie's here.
Hello.
Hey-o.
Hello.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Arrow.
Oh, Ra's al
Arrow
Ghul.
and Ra's al Ghul or something like that, I think.
Well,
yes.
It's odd because Arrow has been borrowing minor Batman villains for the show
like
for a while.
Clock
King.
King.
Well, even I can't remember his name, but the KG Beast was
Yes.
a buddy of Arrow's. And
that's been my thought on Arrow since I started watching it, because I just started watching it over Christmas break, and I was like, this is Batman. They basically made Arrow Batman.
yeah,
Yeah.
they pretty much did.
Yeah, you know what, though? That if it wasn't for Arrow, that gave a new breath of life into DC Comics, though.
It's incredible. I've enjoyed it immensely. I just was like, it's like, this is Batman, and I'm okay with that, but this is Batman.
No,
Felicity Smoke is one of my wife and I, we love that character, and that's borrowed from Firestorm. Like, they just borrow things, and it's awesome. But
Felicity Smoke's borrowed from Firestorm?
Yes, she's actually anti-Firestorm.
I did not know that. I'm not that familiar. That's cool.
The original Felicity Smoke. And now, since New 52 hit, there is a much more, CW-style Felicity Smoke that is connected to the Arrow.
Oh.
innuendos between her and Oliver that's so subtle. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's been fun.
But I think it's odd that they would lift Ra's al like such a big Batman character. And from what I understand, this is, I don't know, I read this in an article not long ago. Arrow and the Flash, they're not even supposed to reference Metropolis or Gotham. But apparently they can lift pretty heavily from Batman characters, so...
Well, the guy, the director, I hate to monopolize it because I'm just such a huge fan of that show, by the way. The director as well as the writer wants Batman in Arrow in like the worst way.
Mm-hmm. Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, he'd fit well. I mean, it's the vibe of the show.
So, are you also watching Flash?
I do watch The Flash, but the problem is when I watch it, as much as I love it, all I can keep thinking about is that 1980s Flash that was on. That was pretty cool.
What's
Yeah.
amusing is, you probably know this, but the actor that plays his dad is the original Flash in that series, from that series.
Yeah, I know. It is pretty cool.
I like
It's
that.
neat to see Wentworth Miller on there from Prison Break as well as one of the main villains.
And then what's her name is one of the Star Lab affiliates. What is that episode? It's the last episode. She co-star on it? I'm just going to throw out pronouns. I'm going to play the pronouns.
A co-star on
She's the love interest on the original Flash episodes.
Oh, okay.
And she played a scientist, one of the Star Lab either affiliates or competitors.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the lady who had the tachyon.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was actually the Flash's love interest in Star Labs in the original series. Mark Hamill's supposed to be joining as he's going to reprise his role as the trickster,
Which is crazy.
I'm really curious to see how they'll do that because there's multiple tricksters, so that works. But I wonder how, and will he have the beard?
They're gonna put him in the same suit. That's not true.
Oh God, I hope so.
I just want him to do the Joker voice at some point during one of the episodes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the precursor to the Joker. The trickster, the original trickster is basically that. I mean, kind of a beta testing for the Joker.
Well, I don't play a lot of video games, but the Arkham games, I mean, have just been awesome with the voiceovers from our Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, those games are great. I have not played. I did not play the third one, the one that wasn't by Rocksteady Studios or whatever. Is it Rocksteady? But I don't think they pulled him in there for the Joker in that one though.
I don't think so either because Gabriel
Arkham Origins.
and I had a debate about who did the voice
In Arkham Origins?
of Joker as in the games, and he's like, no, it's the guy does this voice and this. So we had to look it up, and I'm like, okay, you're right. In that game, it was this guy from another game, but in the other ones, it was Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Arkham Origins was a different studio and a different development team. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to still be good. It's in the same continuity that they set up for this Arkham universe, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and those games are great. And yeah, Mark Hamill. It's always great to have Mark Hamill there, and Conroy as Batman, Kevin Conroy.
Yep, Kevin Conroy.
And Conroy's back as Batman in the new one, Arkham Knight, which I don't think is out yet. But
I was going to say, I don't even know about this.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
It's the next gen. It's on the next gen systems. I don't think it's out yet, but it looks so good. Mm-hmm. And it's by Rocksteady Studio again. Okay, anyway.
Hashtag. We need another hashtag now, Jesse.
Jesse, save us with a hashtag.
Hashtag Arkham.
There we go. We're back on track.
Yep. We have listeners again.
Were you going to talk about the Flash some? Because we brought it up, and then I didn't know if you were
leading somewhere.
Yeah.
I've been missing both shows.
What's today? When do they come back? They come back soon.
Next week.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I have an emptiness in my heart.
Gotham's already back though.
And Gotham got renewed for season 2. I just read that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Gotham. I like it, but I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. It's not like Arrow and Flash or something I have to watch. Gotham is something I can watch if I have time.
Yeah.
Right.
We are actually kind of the exact same way. Which is crazy because I'm a much bigger Batman fan than Green Arrow or Flash.
That's the thing. There's no Batman, so awesome, but no Batman.
I'm very much enjoying Penguin, though, I must say.
Yeah.
Right, he's the best thing about the show that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But where's the Joker?
They hinted at kind of a little possibly this could be the Joker, although it was really kind of a lazy way to do it. With Fish Mooney had a stand-up comedian in an early episode up on the stage that she kicked out, and supposedly that was supposed to be the Joker before he was the Joker.
But isn't he not? I mean, he wouldn't really
who knows
pop up now. You would think.
Well, just like Poison
because-
Ivy's name isn't Poison Pepper.
He'd be
Ivy
the Hood.
Pepper.
He'd be the Red Hood.
Yeah, right. He wouldn't be the Joker yet until after Batman becomes Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Gotham, just because there has been no Joker at all, or no mention of him even.
Mm-hmm.
And Fish Mooney, I don't think she's in any comic books, right?
No, she's an invention of the show. Yeah, that's... On the one hand, I don't mind that they'll come up with their own characters, because since this happens so much, like 10 years before Batman would even be on the scene, that's all right, you know. But I'm just not sure. Like, it seems like a common complaint, and I would agree with this, is that tonally it seems confused, because it wants to be serious and it wants to be gritty and it wants to be like a cop thing, but at the same time they will go kind of campy and over the top and a little cheesy with some of their villains and stuff.
I think the problem is that it's going to fall into the same trap as Smallville, where Smallville started out fine, but after you do 9 seasons with Smallville, it's like, just be Superman already.
Yeah.
You know, you can only be Gotham pre-Batman for so long, and then eventually you have to be Batman.
You know, Jesse, if I can just kind of elaborate on something that you're talking about. My wife says to me all the time she has a hard time with Gotham, not because even of the villains, but because the last couple of Batmans, they built, you know, Gordon up as this kind of, you know, not, you know, kind of laid back cop, and now in Gotham he's like this real badass.
Oh, sure, yeah, I would agree with that, yeah, because you've and it makes sense because Gotham, you know, Gotham is where Gordon's going to pay his dues. And in the Batman movies, he's already paid his dues, so he can kind of be the guy that's just in charge.
Plus, he's got Batman to do all the hard work for him.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
Well, and I think Gordon, at least for me, is a interesting enough and strong enough character to carry his own show or series. I just think the writing is not always up to par. For example, his wife, and I know it kind of follows how it was in the comic books. They were off and on, and they pulled in the relationship that she had with, is it Montoya? Was that Montoya?
What?
The chick? I don't know her name.
Okay. Anyway, apparently that was a thing in the comics, and they play that in the show.
I missed a few issues.
Well, I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm hearing this secondhand, but my issue is, like, the production is so good, the sets look amazing, and it feels lopsided. Like, the production's really high quality, but the writing's a little iffy sometimes, and it just it bums me out because it seems like it could be so much better than it is.
Yeah.
Go back to something that Jesse was saying, that, you know, he thinks, I think it was Jesse that said it, that, you know, Gordon could carry his own series. The Gordon that we're seeing in Gotham and the Gordon we saw in the cartoon when we were kids was a different kind of Gordon than the one we saw in the last couple Batman movies. I don't know how anybody feels about that. Like, if you remember, just, you know, the one that, especially in the cartoon, they brought Gordon up as this real tough, you know, big built guy, you know, who could take on anybody, and then they're building that Gordon up in Gotham. But in the movies, he really wasn't the tough guy. You know what I mean?
He was kind of softened. Yeah.
He was tired.
Yeah, I mean, you know. Yep. He gets older and a little more laid back, I guess, and
you're Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know
He's
how.
He's too busy looking for the Book of Eli.
Yes, and trying to save the humans from the Planet of the Apes,
and trying to kill Leon the Professional.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
You
Gary
guys know
Oldman.
Leon the Professional?
And trying to keep Harry Potter alive.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Harry Potter.
And what was he trying to do in The Fifth Element? Something I don't remember. Wearing cool plastic.
No, he was. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just gonna. You just took the words out of my mouth. I was just gonna say, fight Bruce Willis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love Gary
And
Oldman.
that's no small feat on its own.
Well,
And
you know. Well, oh yeah, Dracula too. That was a great show.
I think. Him. Yeah.
That's it. The Gary Oldman cast. The Gary Oldman cast starting today.
Well, he's actually been around a long time. I didn't even realize it. I was just thinking Batman, but yeah.
Yeah, he's huge.
And he's such a chameleon. I love him. That's why you forget, because he becomes the character and you forget that he's Gary Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
He's even on Friends.
Was
Really?
he?
Yeah, there's an episode where he has to play against, like Joey is cast in an episode or a movie with Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman spits a lot. Oh yeah, going really obscure with that one.
Wow, where were we going?
I know, we derail ourselves so much all the time, don't we?
That's like Nightwing. That's all like Nightwing.
Oh, we lost you a little bit, Brandon.
Hello?
There you go.
Oh, am I back?
Yep.
Yes.
Marco.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
No, we were talking about Nightwing. One of the reasons why I brought up Arrow as well was because they're saying that they actually want to do a Nightwing series too now.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Especially with Daredevil happening too. I was just thinking, like, Daredevil needs to happen soon because
It is.
It is coming out. It's March or something like that.
March,
March,
yeah.
and it's going to be Netflix, and I like, part of me is like, it should have been a movie, but at the same time, they did a movie, and so they probably need to rebuild slowly.
Well, it sounds like...
Did you watch that Daredevil movie? Why would you say that?
Wow. I love the tone. Why would you say that?
Well, that's why they need to rebuild slowly, I suppose. But
now he's going to kill Batman too on top of it.
You can't just rip that Band-Aid off. You gotta reason it.
They need a good movie though. That's my thought process.
But why would they pick Ben Affleck? He killed Daredevil. Now he's just putting him on Batman. Now you got me started. You see?
No, you're absolutely right. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I won't contest these thoughts. You're absolutely right. If they had gone with Matt Damon, they would have had a better Matt Murdock right off the bat. But I don't know. Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me that they're going to bring back Chris O'Donnell to play Robin.
That'd be terrible. That'd be a horrible idea.
Yeah, I just want to say, Brandon, I'm totally on that side. I Batfleck, I still don't understand it.
Yeah,
terrible decision.
Nobody here is going to argue.
And that's what.
No.
It's decisions like that really makes me worry about this whole DC universe they're trying to launch.
Mm-hmm. I think people are far too much worried about, he's such a nice guy, I met him, he's a nice guy, and this and that. Well, I'm sure he's really nice in person, but he sucks on screen, so just don't use him.
Yeah.
Be friends with him in your own time.
Are you talking about Kevin Smith?
Well, him too. But no, I've heard it from other people too. They're like, oh, you have to meet him, he's really smart, he's really nice. And I'm like, and I'm sure in life he is, but on screen, he can play a really good bad word.
A really good bad word.
And a cop from Boston. Other than that, he's almost freaking what's his name? That was in the Planet of the Apes.
Gary Oldman?
No.
Okay. Marky Wahlberg.
Yeah, he's almost a freaking Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg, almost that bad.
Well,
that's a planet that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what?
Didn't happen as far as I'm concerned.
No, you know what? Though? He's just like John Stamos. He can only play one role, and that's it.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Have mercy.
Hashtag.
That's a hashtag for you.
Hashtag Uncle Jesse.
I mean, you watched him in ER, and he's the same thing as he was in Full House. He was the same character every time.
Mm-hmm.
Alternate drummer for the Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, the Daredevil thing, I never watched the movie, and partially that's because Ben Affleck was in it, so I had no interest in it. But I've heard some about. I haven't read any of the comics, but I've heard about the character and I'm interested in it. So I'm actually really glad that they're going to do something so I can actually get to know him a little bit. And I think Netflix is a good idea because that's one of those things where with a movie you're going to have more people making decisions for you, and you have more freedom when you do it on like a Netflix or Hulu, and you get more time to develop what you really want it to be rather than trying to shove it all into an hour or 2 hours with all these people breathing down your neck. You can't do this, you can't do that, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. Yeah, that'll be a much better platform for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know or not, but remember that crummy fourth Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the horrible one.
Unfortunately,
if you look at Chris O'Donnell's costume, they made it look like Nightwing because he actually wanted to do a Nightwing movie after that show. If you look at the actual uniform he's wearing, it's Nightwing symbol, just red.
Oh, you're right.
He owns it. He owns that costume.
He owns that costume.
He still has it. It was some kind of time talk show where he admitted that, where he's like, yeah, I have that costume.
Well, for the time, they could not have picked a better Robin. I mean, he was perfect. He just had 2 bad scripts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he if you look at that costume, he told them make it look exactly like what Nightwings look like because he wanted so bad to do a Nightwing movie, and obviously that last Batman just killed him.
Well, in a perfect world where those movies weren't horrible, where Joel Schumacher was not involved anywhere, that could have made, if they were going to continue the franchise from that point, could have made for interesting transition into a spin-off Nightwing movie, where his suit becomes more Nightwing-ish, and then that's a good natural step towards, hey, he's Nightwing now. Mm-hmm. But
let me ask you a question. You're sitting in a room, and they're talking about who to pick directors, and they picked him. Did anybody in that room not see Highlander 2?
Wow.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
Well, we referenced Mark Wahlberg in Planet of the Apes, a movie that never should have been. And so that's kind of proof that even Tim Burton can get it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a Tim Burton?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of odd because the first 2 Batmans were phenomenal.
Yes, and yeah.
His,
Worked out well, but
what went wrong with that? But it just didn't work.
my guess is...
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. That's what happened. Mark Wahlberg.
I was just telling Jesse we needed a hashtag DJ Marky Mark.
Oh, yeah. Funky Bunch.
Well, and then look at the highest grossing movie of 2014. Marky Mark in Transformers 4.
Was that the highest grossing?
That was the highest grossing movie. Nothing else even came close.
Really?
What else came out that year?
Like Guardians of the Galaxy and other good movies.
There was a Transformers. I didn't even know there was a Transformers 4.
Yeah.
It beat out Guardians of the Galaxy?
It beat everything.
That's
Nothing
insane.
else came close.
And
Take a look at the numbers of how much it grossed in the box office.
I'm pulling up on my iPad.
Melanie just said she didn't even realize Transformers 4 came out, and that's a good point because, I remember seeing some of the previews, but it came out and I heard nothing.
Yeah, me either.
Nothing about it.
And I'm surprised because part of the reason probably it made so much money is because of kids like my nephew who, as soon as you hear anything Transformers, he's freaking out. He's like, all about Transformers, and I got to see this, and I want to watch it 5 times a day, and, buy everything that they make. He's crazy about it, and I didn't hear about it. Maybe I did. That's when he was sad because there wasn't going to be Sam Witwicky. That's what it was.
Ew,
yeah.
He was sad. Kids.
Kids. That was the only thing good about it.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah,
We found a
he grew up
Transformer.
with Sam, so.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing is I am actually a huge Transformers fan. Holly and I were actually talking about this today. But being a huge Transformers fan, Michael Bay has kind of ruined that.
I pulled up the 2014 movies of the year, and it actually got knocked down to number 5.
Oh.
Guardians beat it out.
Oh, good.
Hunger Games was number 2. Captain America was number 3. This is sad. The Lego Movie beat it out for number 4, and then it's number 5. But it's sad part. It actually beat out The Hobbit.
But actually, I liked the Lego movie. I thought it was pretty good, so I don't have any complaints about that.
I haven't seen it, but it does have Batman, so there's that.
Yeah, but I have kids every weekend, so I watch every new kids movie that comes out, pretty much.
Hey, I have one permanently. I don't have her just on the weekends.
Well, she doesn't make you watch kids movies?
Frozen.
Oh, she does.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Frozen more times than I care to think about.
Yeah, sadly, I drive in the car and I find myself singing, if you want to build a snowman, and then I'll switch to Lego and I'm like, everything is awesome. And I'm like, oh, these kids, they're ruining me.
I know the feeling.
But I have to admit, I have not seen any of the Hobbit movies yet, and I feel bad about it because I really like the book, but I don't know why. I just haven't. Really, I do know. I was going to watch it with my dad, and we just never got a time to get together and do it because he's the one who got me into sci-fi and fantasy and stuff, so we tend to watch those kind of things together. But is it good?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I liked it. I've seen all 3 parts, and I have the extended editions, so I've watched all the stupid appendices.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it because I get to see kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm. I had heard that everything looks so real that the CG looks super fake.
Yes, especially if you go see the high frame rate version.
Mm.
Like the first, I went and saw the first one in theaters with the high frame rate 3D, and it was so real. It was like hyper real,
mm-hmm.
and that almost took you out of it. It was like the first one is where all the things in the Goblin Caves happen, where Bilbo meets Gollum and gets the ring in the first place,
right?
And he's like chasing. I think that's the point where it took me out of it, where he's chasing Gollum through these caves, and it's so realistic that you can tell that the caves aren't real, and it looks like kind of like a diorama, like you would build for grade school,
right?
Where it's like cardboard. It almost looks like cardboard cutout set pieces because of how realistic everything looked.
Yeah, that's weird. That it's too real, so it looks fake.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like part of the the Uncanny Valley robot thing where it gets to look too real and it's just weird until it gets past the point where you can't tell the difference,
Right. It's kind of like the Final Fantasy movie. Which was one of those early CGI animated movies.
I'm trying to think if I know. I don't know. I watch too many things. Is that the one where they're like hunting ghost whales and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just like, what is going on here? It's in a $5 bin somewhere, in a Walmart somewhere in the United States.
Yeah.
They wanted to capitalize in the games because Final Fantasy VII was one of the highest grossing RPGs of all time, and those movies were just terrible.
That one in particular, it's like that has nothing to do with the games at all. You just slapped a name on some arbitrary sci-fi script and said Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So
that's like Nightwing.
What was that?
I said that's like Nightwing because that's. I thought that was our subject. I don't know.
It is our subject. We haven't talked about it too much, though.
Oh, yeah. We always wind up on Green Arrow or something else.
Well, it's hard to stay on talking about comics because you have all these shows that have new episodes every week, so it throws you off.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm gathering you don't like Nightwing?
Oh, I do. I do like Nightwing.
Oh, okay.
It's tough. I like Nightwing, and I very much respect Dick Grayson because he's the first. He's the first sidekick that kind of pulled away and became his own person. I mean, like his own hero in and away from the original, and
like A-list level too.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone had ever done that before. Like you look at Bucky for Captain America, or you look at any other sidekick, Dick Grayson's the first. He's the first one to become a real hero on his own.
Well, even Red Robin doesn't really feel... I mean, I know he is, and with the cartoons like the Teen Titans and different cartoons, I know kids probably see him as more of his own independent hero, but he still doesn't even quite feel like he's Nightwing level recognized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And that's a nod to Kingdom Come, and I get what they were trying to do with Red Robin, but by keeping the Red Robin name, it's like it didn't, I don't know. Nightwing was always a better option, I think.
Well, I think it's funny too how that Nightwing, not so much Dick Grayson, but the persona itself has been used by more people than just him.
Oh yeah, there was a while there where Jason Todd tried to pass himself off as Nightwing, didn't he?
Yeah, there was, but the biggest one was Kent when Superman's son became Nightwing for a while when Robin took up Batman's mantle.
In the Bottle City, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
We weren't really geeky there, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, good.
Be as geeky as you can be, I suppose.
Get us
And
that.
a lot of people forget that Lois Lane at one point was actually, for very one episode, when she was with Superman, and Superman's like, you need to wear a disguise. And I guess he had this is before even Dick Grayson was Nightwing. He actually made her wear the Nightwing costume.
Really?
Yeah, this was way, way early. Because if you remember, Nightwing is a name derived. Superman named it. I guess it was some kind of superhero that was on Krypton before it got blown up.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't either, but...
Yeah, see,
Now I'm going way nerdy here.
No, yeah, good, because that's DC history that I am unaware of.
Yeah, it's Bottle City, the Bottle City of Kandor, they got out, right? And then this became a big deal where Superman's son took on the mantle. Yeah, what was it? It was that whole thing where they brought in Zod. It was kind of a big news deal because they brought Zod into the comics, which he hadn't actually been. We've had Zod since Superman 2 with Christopher Reeves, but Zod had never been in the comics, and then they brought him in, and at the same time, they brought in this kid that was Kryptonian, who became like a adopted son of Lois and Clark, and he started aging at an accelerated rate, and so then they put him with the Kandorians. Is that what you call them?
Kandorian demon.
The Kandorians.
That's something else.
The folks that live in the Bottle City, and he I think he took on the Nightwing mantle or something akin to it, Redbird or Nightwing.
Yeah. Well, Chris Kent is the one that takes over before the 52 reboot. He was the one that took over before
Chris
that.
Kent. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is Chris Kent.
And then if you remember, there was also after Dick Grayson leaves, Bloodhaven, you get that psychopath, Tad Reinstead or whatever, becomes him, and then he has to go back after he goes back to Gotham to kind of stop him because he was being Nightwing, but like an extreme version, killing people and stuff. That was also in the comics too.
Yeah. So, moral of the story, listeners, comic books are confusing.
That they can be.
Hashtag everyone is Nightwing.
well, the problem was too is because he's like when you say Gotham, everybody knows Batman. The problem was Nightwing character really traveled all over the place. I mean, he was with Superman. He was with, he was just all over the place. He was with Arrow and all that stuff. He traveled all over the place. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the problem of having a character that floats.
Yeah.
There was a really interesting interview with the writer who was writing the Nightwing New 52 series. What is his name offhand? It's not Peter J. Tomasi. He's doing Batman and Robin. Maybe it was James Tynion 4th or whoever. But anyway, there's a really interesting article with him at one point before the Forever Evil stuff, around the time that there was the big Death of the Family storyline in the New 52. And he had some really interesting ideas about how he wanted to take Nightwing and kind of separate him further from Batman, in that he wanted to really like accentuate the fact that he's his own superhero, and he wanted to introduce his own villains specific to Nightwing. And that's about the time they took him out of, because he had returned to Gotham. And then there was a whole bunch of like the death of the family happened, and everything went bad for Nightwing. And he had actually left and was in Chicago for a long time. And that's about where I fell off of reading it. But I guess that was pretty interesting. And then Forever Evil happened, and I have a feeling editors put the kibosh on any interesting plans he had for Nightwing. So, yeah. But apparently there were some interesting ideas for Nightwing, and he was in Chicago for a while. And I thought that was cool until editorial changed the plans.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a big issue with every DC title the last year or so.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell just reading them that they were planning to go one way, and then they're like, oh, well, now we have another thing where we have to tie in with all these like other comics and change everything that I was planning to do. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's got to be a giant pain for writers.
Yeah.
Well, I think the general problem with his character is I think there was, for a while, there was a lack of direction with it. I mean, he was even in New York City for a while too, and I think I think the problem was Dick Grayson had such a power of a name that they said, well, we're trying to build this other comic. Let's throw Nightwing in there and, get some readers.
Mm. So, Grayson.
Yes.
And there's no Nightwing at all now.
No.
In fact, the last I knew, and I only know this because I read like every Batman title, nobody knows Grayson's even alive. Technically he died at the end of Forever Evil. Of course, that was momentarily, I think. But as far as everybody knows, Batgirl...
even Batman.
Well, Batman is aware that he's alive.
Because he's Batman.
Because he's Batman. Everybody else thinks that Dick Grayson is dead, and that's so that he can go off and be a spy. Nobody knows he's alive. But there's fairly frequently very amusing scenes where Batman will be like addressing everybody in the Batcave, and then they'll leave, and then Dick Grayson is like hanging out like up in the darkness, and he'll pop up and be like, "Are they gone?" He'll be like, "Yep." Well, they all think I'm dead. Just remind the readers, and then he'll have a little friendly chat with Batman, and then disappear. That happens fairly often anymore. But
now, Randall, you're a big Batman fan. Is there I remember when you watch any of the Batman cartoons, and when you watch Batman Beyond, which was a great series, do they hit on a lot of the tensions between Batman and Dick Grayson, or no? Because it seems like even though, like in the Nightwing comics, even though they seem to hint on the fact that, he was mad at Bruce, but he forgives Bruce and they're friends. Like, I don't really read a ton of Batman, so.
In the new stuff, it's been pretty much smoothed over. They used that Death of the Family crossover to like add tension between Batman and everybody. And actually, I think Dick Grayson was one of the first to like let that go. But I remember the old Batman animated series. They did play on that quite a bit when they actually eventually addressed like Dick leaving and becoming Nightwing. As for Batman Beyond, I think Jesse's more familiar with that than I am. I haven't watched a whole lot of the show. I know Dick pops up.
They're all on Netflix.
Yeah? I should watch. Yeah, what I've seen is good. I just never.
Batman Beyond is excellent.
It's hashtag amazing.
Yeah. Yep. I'll buy that for sure. It's I have the like special box set series thing because the art, the writing, it's the greatest Bat series that's never been taken seriously.
I agree with you. And they sneak so many things in that only true comic book fans will understand. When he's talking to Barbara, and he says to Terry, he's like, if you want hostility, go look up Dick Grayson sometime.
Yes,
Nice.
yeah. Yes, and they actually they brought back Batman Beyond in a miniseries, and you got to see Dick Grayson in that universe, and so was it Terry? Terry and Dick got to kind of hash out like why you shouldn't trust Bruce, and that was epic.
Oh, interesting.
That,
They brought in Hush, or it's supposed to be Hush, and that was fun to see a Batman Beyond version of Hush.
Let me tell you that I agree with you, Jesse. That is one series that they didn't take seriously, and it didn't get the credit it deserved because it was on during Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah. That was probably one of the best ones post the original. You know, as far as the original Batman Beyond or the original Batman animated series goes.
And this didn't get the push it deserved because it was overshadowed. That was when like the 90s, back when Pokemon was huge, and Pokemon just overshadowed it.
Yeah.
No, he just comes in with a sound.
Hashtag indiscriminate sound.
It was very discriminate. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're going to get one of these to trend.
Dreadlip?
What?
That should have... I don't know why that didn't take off.
I don't think I hit it hard enough. I posted like 6 or 7 times the first day, and then I kind of dropped it. But Dreadlip, we'll push it. 2015, year of the hashtag Dreadlip.
Yeah. Especially if they come out with... what they need to do is come out with a sequel, so that'll be a foregone conclusion. Conclusion.
Speaking of a Dread sequel, I come across a petition the other day that was hosted on the 2000 AD website to make a Dread sequel, and I signed it. But so there's people that are trying to make it happen, but I don't know. I guess that didn't do very well in the box office. So
Are they
of
going to bring
course,
Stallone back?
no. Did you see?
Although he does a great Dreadlip, I will give him the Dreadlip.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Sadly enough, it would probably get quite a boost. Yeah. Box
But they got to have
boost.
Fergie back. What's his name? That actor that played the comic relief in the first one.
Oh, Snyder.
They got to have Snyder back. That was the only redeeming quality of that whole movie was Rob Snyder's comedy.
The Dreadster, Dreaderino.
Making
And he's
copies.
like, you need to give us some cover fire. I've never shot a gun before. What kind of a criminal are you? You have 21 seconds to run through that pipe. Oh, really? Anybody ever make it? No, but the theory is a good idea, isn't it? Oh, I can recite 50 lines from that movie. Rob Schneider was great.
Really? I've only seen that maybe once, way back.
But you have to realize that Rob Schneider is in that movie. Rob Schneider was a computer hacker at a time when computer hacking really wasn't mainstream yet, and being somebody that was a computer person and going to college, it was like, this is awesome. The guy can hack an ATM with like a microwave.
It was Rob Schneider and Johnny Lee Miller. Those were the two people that could hack computers.
And Hugh Jackman and Swordfish.
Yes.
Yeah, even when he's distracted by...
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Somebody knows the scene.
Yeah, I know the scene.
I think anybody remembers that scene. That was a huge movie in 2001.
It was, wasn't it? It's so strange. I mean, I don't remember it being a bad movie, but it was kind of big.
Well, that was coming off the cusp of the Kevin Mitnick, when he got busted, the world's most infamous hacker. That was coming right off the cusp of that. And, I mean, the timing couldn't have been better for Hollywood. And that movie just took off like a rocket.
It was Halle Berry's boobs. That's what did it.
Halle Berry's
Yeah, I was
boobs.
going to say that too.
Boobs.
I was trying to keep it clean. I was told by Randall, you got to keep it clean. So.
Well, we could talk about adult things. I usually just clean up the language afterwards if need be.
I'm sorry, her mammary glands. Is that better?
That sounds worse.
If they had Kevin Mitnick's mullet, maybe that would have been more distracting.
That would have been awesome. I mean, the funny thing is, too, they busted him only like a few, like I think it was like a month or two before that movie came out, so that was like a hot topic, so it was just perfect for Hollywood.
Well, good timing. Unfortunate for him, but good timing.
Yeah, that was a great movie. But yeah, I liked Snyder in the Judge Dredd movies. I know a lot of people that are comic book fans of Dredd don't like the movie, but I thought it was kind of funny. It had that Demolition Man feel to it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. In fact, I think, and I haven't really watched. I've watched it more than once, but I haven't watched it a lot. But I think I sometimes confuse the two in my head.
Demolition Man and Judge Dredd?
Yeah. Because they're similar to me.
What are the release dates? Because I think they didn't have a whole lot of gap between the two.
Yeah, they'd have to be around the same time period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there were so many great. When you look at that movie now, like when you think of like what they expected the future to be and what it is now, they were way off.
Oh yeah.
I should be driving my flying car to Mars right now if things went the way they were supposed to go from future movies in my childhood.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait. First of all, you'll only be eating at a Taco Bell, driving there, listening to show tunes if you listen to Demolition Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Taco Bell's upscale.
Well then, we're fancy.
And again,
the Cubs have a chance at the World Series in
Yeah.
Back to the Future. So there we go.
Rob Schneider was in that too, and if ever he's like when was it Wesley Snipes was going crazy? Rob Schneider's like, "We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence."
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what though? Demolition Man did have something close to prediction when they made the joke about Arnold Schwarzenegger being the president.
Yeah.
And the only reason the Arnold hasn't run for president is because he wasn't born here.
Yeah.
But he wanted to. He was shooting for it, but you know.
Yeah. Robin Williams had a great bit about that. He said, California elects an Austrian governor with a 65% Hispanic population. The guy he was running against was Hispanic.
Really? I did not realize
Yes.
that. Wow. Have you guys seen any of Arnold's movies since he retired from politics and went back to movies?
Hashtag get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Ain't got time to bleed.
No, I feel like I hate to say this. I feel like I'm used to hosting my own show, so you just got to keep throwing this crazy stuff out just to keep the conversation going.
That's how it is when you do it by yourself. You just got to,
Yeah, I know Randy's always like, I talk too much. And I'm like, but you talk because we stopped talking and you don't want it to be quiet. That's why you keep talking. So it's okay if you dominate the conversation a little bit.
And that is from doing EMG
by yourself.
By myself.
I know.
Where I got to constantly make sound or else there's no podcast happening.
Right.
Yeah, well, Randall had a lot of words to say about me hosting my own show by myself. He said it was like an art, so I appreciate that.
Oh, it is. It is. Because you do it well. I would just recycle the same thing over and over, but you actually have like content that and you're doing it weekly, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
At the technologygeek.org.
That's right. Hashtag TechGeek.
Yeah.
Number one right now, trending worldwide.
Trending. In fact, I'm going to tweet it right now.
Do it.
That's awesome.
I don't know when you guys want to wrap it up soon.
Okay.
Well, it is 7:15 my time.
Oh yeah, this has gone on. This has gone way longer than I expected.
What time did you guys start?
A little after. I was having computer problems, so it was after. Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't.
5:08.
I didn't show up too late then, huh?
Well, we've been recording for an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
So it's almost regular Grawlix length.
Well, I felt bad. I thought you guys were starting at 4, and I was like, oh crap, it's after 5, and I'm just now on my way home.
Well, we did start a little ways after 4, but like I said, I had computer audio issues, so that set us back a bit.
Sure you are. You were watching something on TV. You didn't want to stop.
Yeah. I had to
He was cleaning off the DVR box.
I had to dust the potato chip crumbs off of me and drag myself off the couch. No, I've been kind of busy today. I cleaned up the house a little bit. The bathroom looks nicer, in case you're curious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, what did you clean up? Because
I had to hook all this equipment up.
Yeah.
But also
Hashtag domestic.
Yep.
White people problems.
All right. Again, thank you, Brandon, for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I think we had more fun than we should.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's been
a really fun episode.
This is Nerd Night. Hashtag Nerd Night, Jesse.
yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Anybody interested in my show, the technologygeek.org. It's posted every week on Friday night. We have, open lines and all that. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show.
Well, thanks for being on the show. It's been a pleasure.
It has. It's been very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And to everybody else, I don't have a regular sign off. Have a good time.
Yeah.
If you guys are recording and I have the time free, I'll like to jump on again. You guys are a fun group to hang out with.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's always fun to have extra people on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So,
I give you credit. You're the only woman on the whole show, so you gotta, you have a tough job.
I gotta amp up my awesomeness.
Yeah, exactly.
You just have to maintain your awesomeness.
oh,
Oh,
that's
thank you.
nice. She breathes. She elevates the show.
Oh yeah.
She breathes.
So because I can say boobs and not have to feel weird about it.
Spelled BEWBS.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. See?
That's what she said.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.